Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Defense Minister approves 5th generation fighter jet execution model through industry tie-up. Prime Minister of India slams Pakistan on use of proxy war against India. MANTRI KISAN SAMPADA YOJANA revised operational guidelines for cold chain scheme. Government successfully auctioned Potash and highlight mining blocks for the first time. France's National Assembly adopts bill legalizing assisted dying. India's first gene-edited sheep produced by researchers from Kashmir University in collaboration with ICAR. In a major boost to India's defense capabilities, the Defense Minister has approved the execution model for the country's 5th generation fighter jet project through an industry tie-up. So what does this mean? Under the approved model, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited or HAL will now compete with private industry players to manufacture the indigenous 5th generation fighter jet, officially named the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft or AMCA. Now to give you some context, only 3 countries in the world currently operate 5th generation fighter aircraft. The United States with the F-22 and F-35, Russia with the Sukhoi Su-57, and China with the Chengdu J-20. Let's take a closer look at the AMCA program. The project received approval from the Cabinet Committee on Security or CCS in 2024. The CCS is chaired by the Prime Minister and includes the Home, Defense, Finance and External Affairs Ministers. The lead agency for the AMCA is the Aeronautical Development Agency or ADA, functioning under the DRDO. Core capabilities of the AMCA will include Super Cruise, internal weapons base, sensor fusion, AI-driven avionics, and radar-absorbing structures. The prototype is expected by 2028-29 and induction is targeted for 2034. The AMCA will come in 2 variants, Mk1 with GE F414 engines and Mk2 with planned indigenous engines. So what makes 5th generation fighters special? They are twin-engine powered, offering higher air safety and survivability, especially critical during night operations. They also possess stealth capabilities like low probability of intercept radar, making them harder to detect. Their airframes are highly agile and capable of supercruise, meaning they can fly at supersonic speeds without afterburners. Add to that, advanced avionics for communication and targeting, and integrated computer systems that give pilots a complete 360-degree view of the battlefield without the need to maneuver. Now, let's talk about strategic importance. The AMCA is a key part of Indian Air Force modernization. It will fill a critical capability gap left by the phase-out of jets like the MiG-29 and Mirage, and help rebuild the IAF squadron strength, currently at 31, compared to the approved 42. Regionally, it serves as a strong counter to China's J-20 and Pakistan's J-10C, which it procured from China. And most importantly, it strengthens India's technological sovereignty by reducing dependency on foreign platforms, aligning perfectly with the Make in India initiative. In a strong and direct message, the Prime Minister of India has slammed Pakistan for its continuous use of proxy warfare against India. He emphasized that this is no longer just a proxy conflict. It is now a direct war being waged by Pakistan. Pakistan uses proxy warfare against India by funding, training and arming militant groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed to destabilize Jammu and Kashmir. Let's understand what a proxy war is. A proxy war is a conflict where one or more states support non-state actors like militants or spies without becoming directly involved themselves. It is a subset of hybrid warfare, which mixes traditional military tactics with unconventional methods. These can include cyber warfare and, of course, terrorism. Some common tools of proxy war include military aid and training to non-state actors, economic assistance, intelligence sharing, disinformation campaigns, and even cyber tools. So how does this impact India? Let's take a closer look. First, it challenges our sovereignty. A clear example is Pakistan's support to insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir. Second, it results in violence and loss of life. For instance, China's indirect support to militant groups in northeastern states have caused serious civilian and military casualties. And third, it places a heavy economic burden on India due to higher spending on security and strain on social infrastructure. Now, why do countries like Pakistan resort to proxy war? One major reason is plausible deniability. By using militants, they avoid direct blame and international consequences. Then, the strategic depth. It allows them to influence events remotely, using methods like sleeper cells or even social media influencers as seen recently. And finally, there's cost avoidance. They suffer fewer casualties and invest little in militants, while India bears the brunt of the expenses. Pakistan's 1,000-cut strategy is a textbook example. So what steps has India taken? The Prime Minister recently announced a new three-pillar security doctrine, which clearly states that proxy war will now be treated as direct war against India. Border management has also been modernized. For example, the Comprehensive Integrated Border Management System or CIBMS includes smart fencing, thermal imaging, and motion sensors along the line of control. On the cyber front, India has strengthened its defenses through institutions like CERTIN and NTRO. And at the international level, India has made strategic use of the UNSC's 1267 Committee to sanction Pakistan-based terrorists. Moving on, we will be taking a closer look at the revised operational guidelines for the cold chain scheme under the MANTRI KISAN SAMPADA YOJANA or PMKSY. The Ministry of Food Processing Industries has been implementing this umbrella scheme since 2016 to 17. Let's start with the PRADHAN KISAN SAMPADA YOJANA or PMKSY. It is a central sector umbrella scheme. The purpose is to strengthen post-harvest infrastructure, build processing facilities, reduce losses, and ultimately boost the food processing sector. Now, when we talk about the funding, it's important to note that PMKSY is demand-driven with no state or crop-specific financing, making it flexible and inclusive. Its tenure currently spans from 2021 to 22 to 2025 to 26. Moving ahead, let's break down the operational components of PMKSY. Integrated cold chain and value addition infrastructure, agro-processing clusters, food processing and preservation capacities, and operation greens. Now, let's zoom in on one major component, the cold chain scheme, officially known as the Integrated Cold Chain and Value Addition Infrastructure. So what's the objective? It aims to build a seamless cold chain and value addition infrastructure from the farm to the consumer. The focus is on reducing post-harvest losses for non-horticulture produce, like dairy, meat, poultry, and marine or fish, excluding shrimp. It also aims to link farmers with processors and markets so that they get fair prices while consumers benefit from year-round food availability. And what are the key components of this cold chain infrastructure? Farm-level infrastructure or FLI, a processing center which is mandatory, a distribution hub, and transport, including refrigerated vans, refrigerated trucks, insulated vans, and mobile insulated tankers. Now, who's eligible to benefit from the scheme? A wide range of players, including individuals, central and state PSUs, NGOs, cooperatives, SHGs, FPOs, LLPs, and more. When it comes to financial support, the scheme offers grants in aid or subsidy as follows: 35% of the eligible project cost in general areas, 50% of the eligible project cost in difficult areas, and for projects by SC or ST beneficiaries, FPOs, and SHGs, subject to a maximum of 10 crore rupees per project. So why is this relevant today? According to the UNEP's Food Waste Index Report 2024, 20% of all food was wasted globally in 2022. Shockingly, India ranked second after China, with 10 to 12% of its municipal waste being food waste, which also contributes to methane emissions. And that's exactly where the scheme becomes critical, a promising solution to combat these environmental and food supply challenges. India has successfully auctioned potash and halite mining blocks for the first time ever. As part of its fifth tranche, the government has auctioned 10 out of 15 critical mineral blocks. And this marks a historic first step toward reducing fertilizer imports and boosting agriculture self reliance. Let's talk specifics. The mining will begin in Rajasthan at Jhandawali Satipura and Jorkian Satipura Khunja amalgamated potash and halite blocks. This also happens to be Rajasthan's first ever successful auction of a critical and strategic mineral block. So, what is potash? It's a general name given to various inorganic compounds that contain potassium in a water soluble form. Essentially, it's an impure mix of potassium carbonate and potassium salts. The principal ore of potash is sylvanite, which is a mixture of sylvite and halite. And where does India find it? A major chunk, 91%, is found in Nagaur district of Rajasthan, followed by Panna district in Madhya Pradesh with 5%, and the remaining 4% comes from Sonbhadra and Chitrakoot districts in Uttar Pradesh. Here's a crucial fact. According to the Indian Mineral Yearbook 2022, India currently imports 100% of its potash requirement. Let's understand its usage. In agriculture, potash serves as a fertilizer that enhances crop yield, disease resistance, texture, color, nutrient value, and taste. It also plays a role in purifying water. Potash alum is known for removing hardness and having antibacterial properties. Beyond that, potash is used in manufacturing. Everything from glass, ceramic, soap, detergent, dye, to synthetic rubber and chemicals. Also, potassium nitrate, derived from potash, is used in explosive manufacture. Now, let's move on to halite. You may know it by its common names, table salt or rock salt. Halite is composed of sodium chloride or NaCl and is a sedimentary mineral usually formed in arid climates where ocean water evaporates. And what is it used for? Quite a few things. Road safety as a de-icer in winter, in the chemical industry for making sodium hydroxide, soda ash, hydrochloric acid, chlorine, and metallic sodium. It also plays a part in water softening, among other industrial applications. So, to sum it up, India's successful auction of potash and halite mining blocks not only makes mineral history, but also brings us one step closer to agriculture independence and industrial strength. Moving ahead, France has taken a significant step in the debate on end-of-life choices. The country's National Assembly has adopted a bill that legalizes assisted dying, allowing adults with incurable illnesses to take lethal medication as public demands grow across Europe for legal end-of-life options. Let's break it down. The proposed measure introduces a structured framework for assisted dying, but only under specific conditions. So, what exactly is assisted dying? It refers to two main practices: euthanasia and assisted suicide. Euthanasia is when a third party actively ends a patient's life to relieve suffering. If it's done with the patient's consent, it's called voluntary euthanasia. This can be active or passive. Active euthanasia involves a deliberate act, such as administering a lethal injection by a medical professional or another person that directly causes the patient's death. Passive euthanasia, on the other hand, means allowing a patient to die by withholding or withdrawing life-sustaining treatment, such as switching off a ventilator or not giving life-extending medication. Now, coming to assisted suicide. This involves a medical practitioner prescribing a lethal drug, which the patient takes themselves to end their life. Let's now move to the ethical issues associated with assisted dying. First, there's a risk of coercion, a major concern, as there's always a fear that people who are not terminally ill or those with disabilities may feel pressured to opt for euthanasia. Then, there are allegations of malpractice. Countries like the Netherlands and Belgium have had to investigate several cases, especially involving psychiatric patients. Other arguments include the sanctity of life, the belief that taking life is inherently wrong and immoral, and that it goes against the medical ethics of nursing, caregiving, and healing. Now, where does India stand on this issue? Currently, there is no law on euthanasia in India. Only passive euthanasia is allowed, and that too under specific conditions as laid down by the Supreme Court. Let's look at two landmark judgments. In the Common Cause versus Union of India and others 2018 case, the Supreme Court recognized the right to die with dignity as a fundamental right under Article 21. It also upheld the legal validity of passive euthanasia. And earlier, in the Aruna Schonberg versus Union of India 2011 case, the court allowed passive euthanasia for patients in a permanent vegetative state, but it required High Court approval under Article 226. So, as France moves forward in the assisted dying debate, the conversation around end-of-life choices continues across the globe, including here in India. India has achieved another milestone in the field of genetic research after the recent release of the country's first gene-edited rice variety. Researchers from Kashmir University, in collaboration with ICAR, have now developed India's first gene-edited sheep. Let's understand how this breakthrough was made possible. The sheep was developed using CRISPR-Cas9 technology, which works on a cut-and-paste mechanism for DNA strands. This powerful gene editing tool was recognized globally, with the 2020 Nobel Prize for Chemistry awarded for its discovery. So, what is gene editing? It is the precise modification of an organism's DNA. Its purpose is to add, remove, or alter genes, enabling targeted changes in genetic makeup. Tools used include CRISPR-Cas9, TALENs, and zinc-finger nucleases. There are also two broad types of gene editing: somatic cell editing and germline cell editing. Let's start with somatic cell editing, which is non-heritable. It targets body cells like the skin or liver and affects only the treated person. The changes do not pass on to the offspring. This is mainly used for treating cancers and genetic disorders such as sickle cell anemia. On the other hand, germline cell editing is heritable. It affects reproductive cells or embryos, meaning every cell of the resulting individual carries the change, and these edits can be inherited by future generations. It's currently used for preventing inherited diseases, but only in experimental stages. To put it simply, somatic editing affects body, non-reproductive cells, is not heritable, has a localized impact, faces few ethical concerns, and is active in clinical trials. Germline editing affects reproductive cells, is heritable, impacts the whole organism and its descendants, has higher ethical concerns, and is mostly restricted or experimental. Now, coming back to the research, scientists edited the myostatin gene in a lamb, leading to a 30% boost in muscle growth. This is a trait found in European breeds like the Texel, but is usually absent in Indian breeds. Notably, no foreign DNA was added, making it different from transgenic animals. This makes the process efficient, safe, and potentially more acceptable to both regulators and consumers. India has been steadily exploring gene editing in animals. Earlier, the National Dairy Research Institute had developed a gene-edited buffalo embryo. However, it's crucial to address the ethical concerns that come with gene editing. Altering traits such as intelligence, sex, or appearance could lead to designer babies, deepening the divide between the rich and the rest. It could also promote eugenics, a dangerous idea of improving humans which may fuel discrimination. Other scientific concerns include off-target effects and mosaicism, where not all cells reflect the desired edit. Plus, there's always the risk of new diseases or ecological harm. Animal welfare remains another concern, since the gene editing process may involve sacrificing animals or performing invasive surgical procedures. That's why the International Bioethics Committee of UNESCO is actively exploring the broader ethical implications of genome editing. In conclusion, gene editing holds immense promise, from curing diseases to improving agriculture. But as this technology evolves, ethics and safety must guide its path forward. As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Recently, the Supreme Court dismissed a plea with respect to honoring the legacy of a freedom fighter under Emblems and Names Prevention of Improper Use Act 1950. The Emblems Act aims to safeguard national symbols like the Indian national flag, the state emblem, seal of president or governor, names of pictorial representations of national figurines, etc., from any misuse or commercial use. CENTA amended the FCRA and henceforth NGOs engaged in publication-related activities and receiving foreign contributions will not be able to publish any newsletter and must get a certificate from the Registrar of Newspapers for India that it does not circulate any news content. Recently, the Zangezur corridor was in the news as it can potentially challenge India's strategic interest in West and Central Asia. Zangezur corridor is a proposed 43-kilometer transport route through Armenia's Syunik province. Due to the ongoing Israel-Gaza war, the issue around the Green Line has come up again. The Green Line is a 1949 ceasefire boundary, marking the separation between Israel and the West Bank. Board of Directors of NSTC has terminated the services of its Chief Executive Officer. NSTC was established in 2008 as a not-for-profit public limited company under Section 25 of the Companies Act 1956, now corresponding to Section 8 of the Companies Act 2013. Government restored the RODTEP scheme for exporters done by advance authorization holders, export-oriented units, and units in special economic zones. RODTEP scheme was introduced in 2021. Chief Minister of Sikkim has requested the centre to ban climbing on Mount Kanchenjunga. The peak is sacred to locals who believe their guardian deity Zonga lives there. Mount Kanchenjunga is located in Sikkim, on the India-Nepal border, eastern Himalaya. Two varieties of stingless bees, Etragonula iridipenis and Lepidotrigona arcifera, native to Nagaland, have been found to be beneficial to farmers. These stingless bees are distributed across India, Southeast Asia, Africa, Australia, South America, and other regions. Once abundant in Indian waters, the dugong population has now reduced to about 200. Moving on to its features, the dugong or sea cow is the only marine herbivorous mammal that depends on seagrass. It is slow-growing and can live for a long time. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description.